What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is regional Thanksgiving foods in the US. Now, you've not checked out Geography King before, have you?
No, never seen it.
It's an awesome channel. Maybe we'll do some more content if you guys want to see it of Geography Kings. But he uploaded this the other day, and we weren't going to do another food reaction with you. But it's Thanksgiving, and we enjoy our food reactions, and Geography Kings uploaded it, so you guys are getting a bonus food reaction. Thanksgiving, do you know much about it?
Yeah, so I celebrate it at school.
Yep.
I do it with my class because over the years we've just had a few American families, so obviously the importance of it for them is something that we want to celebrate. And I think from what I've learned just teaching it to the girls is that it's just a festival about being grateful and thankful and looking back at the harvest.
Yeah, I think that is how it originated, wasn't it? The harvest, it was quite a long time ago, but they were basically thankful for the harvest and stuff like that. And now, in general, day to day, it's more just about being thankful for a lot of things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Life and stuff like that, and all. Hopefully, the amazing things what happened to everyone. So let's get straight into it. Again, you've got two picky eaters here. One who claims not to be picky, and one who, I admit, but I'll give it a go. So let's check out. And this is Geography King's opinion, by the way. It isn't fact or anything like that. He always gives his opinion, so you guys can let us know what your favourite regional Thanksgiving foods are. Or actually, just let us know your top 3 Thanksgiving foods. And we'll be looking in the comments because we're enjoying in the comments, aren't we? So hit that like button, we'd really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button as well, you absolute legends. And let's check out the regional Thanksgiving foods in the US, what we got. Howdy.
Howdy, it's Kyle talking about regional dishes for U.S. Thanksgiving. At this time of year, millions of Americans gather with family and friends to have a big feast, but the food we eat isn't always the same depending on the part of the country in which you live. I've been fortunate enough to have Thanksgiving dinners in California, South Carolina, Tennessee, and West Virginia, and the things we've had at each one have been a little bit different. So in this video, I'm going to go over some of the regional differences in side dishes and desserts you might find throughout the U.S. This time of year, you'll often see websites or maps showing stuff like this, where it's talking about the #1 side dish or most requested food for each state for Thanksgiving. But the problem with maps like this is that the sources are often kind of dubious. So some of them use BettyCrocker.com, or they just ask a bunch of chefs or go by whatever the most Googled food term is during Thanksgiving. But that doesn't really give you the best overall impression of what you're going to see in different parts of the country in terms of sides and desserts. And these maps are always by state, so there always has to be something for each state, even if there isn't really anything iconic in terms of a Thanksgiving dish for that state.
Okay.
So in this video, I'm going to be looking more at regional type dishes, because most things are more regional as opposed to by state. There are a few things that are specific to a state, but I'm going to be going more by regional type dishes here. I'm going to start off by talking about the Southeast, because that's where I've spent the vast majority of my Thanksgivings as an adult. One thing that is very ubiquitous in Southeastern Thanksgivings is macaroni and cheese. You'll see mac and cheese for Thanksgiving in other parts of the U.S., but for the Southeast, it's mandatory. Whether it's been Carolina, Tennessee, or West Virginia, every single Thanksgiving it's had mac and cheese. Good. And if you're from the West...
You know it looks good when it's got a little bit of a crisp on the top.
And what's even worse is that we haven't eaten yet.
I am literally starving. We're talking, it's like 5:30 right now. We should really be eating, and I'm so hungry. Yeah, I really could. But just when you got a little brown crisp on top, it looks so nice.
You might be thinking, what, you get a sippy cup with your mac and cheese? That's kind of how I thought as well before I moved to South Carolina. I mean, being from the West, I thought of mac and cheese as being that stuff that comes in a blue box. But since then, I've learned it can be really good baked into a casserole and is one of my favorite parts of Thanksgiving. Something else very common throughout the Southeast is anything made with sweet potatoes. With North Carolina being the #1 producer of sweet potatoes in the U.S., you can expect to find a lot of sweet potato type dishes in the Southeast. You'll often see it baked into a casserole, often with marshmallows on top, or it can also be a nice dessert baked into a pie. And you'll
No, not a fan of sweet potato.
But maybe in a different form.
I love sweet potato chips. Not picky, eh? I mean, again, let us know. Are they marshmallows on top?
This is also something that
I don't know if he said. I don't know if he said that or not. We'll go back. But you look like marshmallows, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't. This is something that really confuses me. Is why we're putting sweets on like a hot dish that goes in the oven.
Why not?
It just confuses me. I don't know.
It may not be. It may just be some sort of cream topping or something. Let us know. It looked like marshmallows to me.
It did look like marshmallows.
I'd give it a go anyway. But a sweet potato, I do like it.
Expect to find a lot of sweet potato type dishes in the Southeast. You'll often see it baked into a casserole, often with marshmallows on top.
I bet he did say it.
It can also be a nice dessert baked into a pie. And you'll find sweet potatoes on the dinner plate all throughout the U.S., but it is most common and most prevalent in the Southeast. Another staple for the Southeast is anything with pecans. So whether they're sprinkled on top of a casserole, baked into a pie, or glazed into pralines, you'll often find pecans at a Southern Thanksgiving. It's also worth noting that it's pronounced pecan.
Why?
Everyone likes different things. I like fish. I don't like fish.
But
You
why
like
is it like
fish.
an American, like a lot of Americans seem to like it?
It's like, they'll go to us like, why do you like beans on toast?
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like, beans on toast, when we're talking Heinz beans, because some people separate. Because, again, in America, I know we're getting so off topic here.
Different words mean different things, don't they?
But, well, no, not different things, but, like, they kind of think of actual beans. Like, kind of like Jack and the Beanstalk beans.
Okay.
Not Heinz
Baked
baked beans. It kind of means, so they picture something even weirder. But, again, you guys don't really have baked beans, I don't think. No. So, it's kind of like, they'll look at us and go, why the hell do you have baked beans on toast?
Because it's so good.
Where we notice a lot of pecans. He said it like, again, regional. Yeah. He said pecan, didn't he?
Pecan.
It's just different areas have different foods, I guess. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't.
Pecans, when talking about just the nuts, but if you're talking about a pie, it's a pecan pie. Also found at most Southern Thanksgivings are greens, which is a general term for collard, mustard, or turnip greens. And if you've been in the house when they're cooking the greens, wow, they stink. And they can be pretty off-putting to a lot of people because the flavor is often quite strong. But to make it more palatable, most people will cook the greens in either lard or butter and have ham hocks in the pot as well. And that takes away some of the healthy aspects of the greens, but it does make them much tastier.
Might pass.
Common in the western portions of the Southeast, primarily Louisiana, is something called carrot souffle. And these are carrots baked with egg whites and topped with various sweeteners.
I tried that.
When you get to the western end of the South, like Arkansas and Texas, you'll often see turkey cooked into spaghetti. And even in these states, turkey spaghetti is not more popular than this regular old turkey, but these are the places in the U.S. where you might find turkey spaghetti.
I tell you what, they're just very creative, aren't they?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Like carrot souffle, never thought about it in my life. Okay. Turkey and spaghetti. Again, I've got to rate it because I love, like, it is a little bit different, but I love, like, bacon and pasta.
Yeah.
And again, it is different, but it's the idea of combining a meat and a pasta.
Yeah, you do.
And a spaghetti.
Love that,
and you know what? I do rate the creativity, and I think that'd be stunning. To be fair,
I think it would.
Spaghetti.
We should try making that. I think that does sound amazing.
A few people suggested maybe we'll make a cooking channel, so maybe we will.
They might not say that after they see us cooking.
Oh, yeah, after the first one, you won't want to see us cook again. But just to give these foods a go, would be pretty weird and pretty awesome, I think.
Another southern regional dessert is called Kentucky Derby pie. And as you might expect, it is most common in Kentucky, but you can't find it in other parts of the Southeast. And this is a chocolate chip cookie pie with nuts, usually walnuts, and it's served warm. Another popular Thanksgiving dessert in the South is peach dump cake. Personally, I hate peaches. They're one of my least favorite foods out there, but peach desserts are pretty common throughout the South on Thanksgiving, so whether it's peach pie, peach cobbler, or peach dump cake, you'll find them often.
I'm not a huge fan of them, but yeah, just one of them.
If you had to eat it, you'd eat it, but
I'm not too bothered about them, but I'd give it a go.
Southeast. Now let's take a look at the northeastern part of the country. Kind of like macaroni and cheese, cranberry sauce is very common all throughout the U.S. for Thanksgiving, but it is most prevalent in New England. I've seen cranberry sauce occasionally in southern Thanksgivings, but it's going to be something much more common, if not mandatory, in New England.
Wow.
Also, in the Northeast in general, you'll find more dishes made with butternut squash. It's often made into a soup or a casserole, and it's pretty common up in New England and the Northeast. And I know it's stuff that's eaten in other parts of the country as well, but I've never had butternut squash for any Thanksgiving, whether it be California or the Southeast.
I've never had it.
An iconic Thanksgiving dessert for the Northeast is called Indian pudding. And this is cornmeal, milk, and molasses made into a pudding, often topped with cinnamon and served warm. Indian pudding is more common in New England, but in the mid-Atlantic states you'll often find souffle pie. This is another really sweet pie made with molasses, and it's most commonly found in Pennsylvania. Another signature dessert for the Northeast is Concord grape pie. I've only ever had Concord grape made into jelly, so I don't know what the pie tastes like, but I'm sure it's pretty good.
Interesting.
It's not a very common pie type to find in the West or in the Southeast, but it is much more common in the Northeast. Now let's move over to the Midwest. Whether it be the Great Lakes or the Great Plains, big hearty casserole dishes are much more common there. And these are often puffy with puff pastry, or they're fluffy with marshmallow on top.
I think, are they tater tots on top?
Yes,
I think they are.
Yeah.
Which is a hash brown, which you got right, didn't you, on a food reaction?
Potato crops.
Oh, kind of similar to a hash brown at least. I think they are tater tots.
I'm pretty sure that's what they are.
And these are often puffy with puff pastry, or they're fluffy with marshmallow on top.
Marshmallow
In the
again.
upper Midwest,
I know,
especially
it's
Minnesota
interesting,
and
isn't it?
Wisconsin, you'll often find wild rice casseroles, or in Minnesota they're called a hot dish.
Interesting.
With that part of the country being the largest producer of wild rice, you will see wild rice casserole much more often up there.
Wow.
Also big for Wisconsin as an appetizer or a side dish is beer cheese dip. I doubt
You'd
there could
like
be
that.
anything more Wisconsin than beer cheese dip.
Yeah, I love
It's
that.
usually served with pretzels.
It's all right. It just ticks the boxes, doesn't it? You go,
It's
beer,
got cheese in it,
yeah,
and beer, you're done.
cheese, yeah.
That's it
Oh,
for you.
sign me up.
They
Definitely.
can be the hard kind or the soft kind.
Ah.
In Minnesota and the Dakotas, especially North Dakota, you'll often see Scandinavian-inspired dishes for Thanksgiving. One is lefse, which is a Norwegian flatbread. It's almost like a potato pancake. It's fairly thin, and it's usually topped with cinnamon and sugar. My mother-in-law is of Norwegian descent, and she'll usually make lefse for Thanksgiving. It's quite good, and something you're not really going to find outside of Minnesota or the Dakotas. However, the dark side of Scandinavian-influenced dishes is lutefisk. And this is fish that is aged and dried, and then rehydrated and gelatinized. According to some folks
I'll let
I
you
know
try
from
that. I'm
not
Minnesota,
picky,
lutefisk
but
is something that grandma
come on.
will show up with at Thanksgiving, but nobody really eats it. Maybe a couple of little kids will try it, or somebody visiting from out of state, and everyone will laugh at them after they try it and find out how disgusting it is. Like I was saying before about New England being the part of the country where you're most likely to see cranberry sauce, that is true except for one state, Wisconsin. Wisconsin is the number one producer of cranberries in the country, and there are a lot of dishes made with it throughout the state for Thanksgiving. Perhaps my favorite Midwestern dessert is called Gooey butter cake. It's most commonly found in Missouri, but also in Illinois. And it's exactly how it sounds, gooey butter cake, and it's
We'd like
really
that.
good. And in general, throughout the entire Midwest, you're going to find corn incorporated into the dishes more than most other parts of the country.
We like sweet corn.
Whether it be
don't we?
straight
Yeah.
corn, creamed corn, or corn casserole, expect corn to be on the plate for Thanksgiving in the Midwest. Now let's head on over to the northwestern part of the country. One of my favorite desserts in general, not just for Thanksgiving or from the Northwest, is huckleberry pie, which is pretty commonly found in Alaska, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana. I'm not sure why huckleberries aren't more well known throughout the U.S., because all the other major berries are found throughout the country, even though they don't really grow them throughout the country.
Yeah, they're not really well known over here, at least for me.
No, they are similar to blueberries, I think. In the last dessert reaction we did, they said that they were similar to blueberries.
Yeah, but in terms of over
the
here,
actual-
I'd see
their own
a
berry,
blueberry
yeah.
pie in the shop over here. I've never seen a huckleberry
No,
pie.
never, no.
Is what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I get they're very similar,
Yeah.
but I've never seen a huckleberry pie
No.
before.
And kind of like how you have beer cheese dip in Wisconsin, well, in the Northwest, you often have smoked salmon dip. Personally, I think that
Not
salmon
salmon,
is
man.
my least favorite fish, and I probably wouldn't like smoked salmon dip, but it is very popular and quite common throughout Alaska, Washington, and Oregon. Heading just south of there, we'll go into Utah. One of the most popular side dishes there is called funeral potatoes. And this is a cheesy hash brown casserole with a crunchy topping, often it's cornflakes. This is something that my mom makes in California, but it's much more common to find in Utah and other areas with a large LDS population.
Oh.
And heading into the southwest, you'll see many more dishes influenced by Mexican culture. A common Thanksgiving dish in California and Arizona, and to a lesser extent New Mexico and Texas, are tamales. And this is a meat stuffed into cornmeal rolled up into a corn husk. And they're very labor intensive, which is why you'll often find them for Thanksgiving and Christmas, because it just takes so much effort to do it. It's almost like an assembly line of people putting them together. And even though Thanksgiving tamales are much more common in the Southwest, I guarantee you where you live, you can go to a Mexican restaurant a couple of weeks before and order a dozen or two tamales for Thanksgiving.
Tell you what, they do look like a nightmare to cook, though, don't they? I mean, I think it would be nice, and I'd give them a go, but the amount of effort gone in to create that, like, a lot of effort.
And also, in this part of the country, you'll often find tortillas as a side dish. They can be flour or blue corn, but either way, they're often served with dinner. And in New Mexico, you'll find red chili sauce and green chilies incorporated into the meal. And people from New Mexico will put green chilies into just about everything, so whether it be the stuffing or a casserole, it's going to be pretty spicy. You can't escape the heat for dinner in New Mexico, even for Thanksgiving. And now I want to talk specifically about variations of stuffing or dressing throughout the country. And depending on the part of the country you live in, it's either called stuffing or dressing. It's usually called dressing in the West and stuffing in the East. But the base of the stuffing is what varies regionally throughout the U.S. In the eastern half of the U.S., most stuffing is going to be cornbread stuffing. I've had cornbread stuffing in every Thanksgiving I've been to in the Southeast, and it's usually my favorite dish of the meal.
I mean, you like stuffing, don't you?
Yeah, I like stuffing.
I don't really go near it, but I'd give it a go. I definitely would. But you
Yes.
do it, so this is kind of like more your
Yeah.
section, like, yeah, stuffing.
In the West, much more common is white bread stuffing. And it's essentially the same thing, it's just made with white bread instead of cornbread. And
Wow.
growing up in California, this is my favorite part of the Thanksgiving dinner as well. Specific to Northern California, you'll often find sourdough bread dressing. I've never had it, but based on my appreciation of other stuffings, I'm sure it will probably be my favorite dish for Thanksgiving in San Francisco as well. And kind of like how wild rice is most common in the upper Midwest, you'll often find wild rice stuffing up there as well. And I've never had this either, but I'm pretty sure I'd like it. So those are the main Thanksgiving side dishes and desserts I wanted to go over in this video. There's certainly many more that I wasn't able to cover in this video, so please let me know in the comment section if there are other type desserts or sides that you have where you live that aren't really common in other parts of the country.
Let us know, and again, like I said at the start, let us know your favourite one. Some gorgeous foods over there. Maybe we'll make it over for Thanksgiving one year.
Yeah.
Because I definitely would not complain with a nice little roast
I
up
feel like
like
I'd
that.
try all of those.
Definitely. I mean, as long as I get to be a bit selective on some of the things I know I'd like.
I can just see the sprouts at the top.
Oh, you love sprouts, don't you? No, I think we've definitely got to get over one day and have a nice little roast of this because, again, it's a traditional thing as well.
Yeah.
And I imagine just being in the US around this time must be pretty
it's
cool.
It's like being for us around at Christmas, isn't it? I think it's
think
their
so,
big
yeah.
holiday. And
Definitely. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button as well, you absolute legends. Let us know your favourite Thanksgiving food in the comments below. Have a fantastic day, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.